Hi folks, I'm Andy from Mantic Games, and in this video I'm going to show you how to set up your first game and understand the turn structure in Halo Flashpoint. In Halo Flashpoint, each game you play will be a set scenario with specific win conditions and objectives to achieve. Although some scenarios may differ, the standard procedure and steps for preparing for a game of Halo Flashpoint are as follows. First, prepare your fire team. A fire team is made up of 4 models, and you can either start your game with the default roster of 1 Spartan Mark 7, 1 Spartan Deadeye, 1 Spartan Brawler, and 1 Spartan Zvezda each, and this is the content of the Recon Edition. Or if you've opted for the Spartan Edition and have a larger collection of models to choose from, you may wish to look at our advanced fire team building rules on page 46 of the rulebook, where you can use a drafting mechanic to choose your models. However you choose your roster, you should each have 4 models of the same faction making up your fire team. Next, we select a scenario. Now each scenario has a different objective for the players to win the game. The best one to start with if this is your first game is Slayer, where players simply try to take out their opponent's models to win kill points. Or if you're a little more comfortable with the rules, you can mutually agree on one of the 5 scenarios in the rulebook. Now if you can't come to a decision, or maybe you just want to randomize it, there's a handy table on page 34 of the rulebook to help you out. So you have your fire team, you know the scenario you'll be playing, now it's time to set up the battlefield. Place the buildings and other terrain pieces on the board in a mutually agreeable fashion. Now we suggest that there should be no 3x3 cube area anywhere on the battlefield without any terrain in it, even if it's just a crate or a barricade, as this will break up the line of sight and provide the models with some sort of cover. Sometimes the scenario may call for some specific scenery and give you more prescriptive instructions on how to set up your battlefield. We now place the respawn markers, the weapon drop markers, plus any scenario specific markers. The setup instructions for your chosen scenario will tell you exactly where these need to go. The respawn markers show where your models will re-enter the battle arena should they be killed and respawn. During setup, you will determine which player is red and which is blue, based upon the deployment zone chosen, and this will be the same for which respawn points that you'll use. The weapon drop markers are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, 8 on the back of them. You should flip them over so that you can't see the numbers, shuffle them up, and then place them on each of the 4 weapon drop locations shown on the map. If that location has a building on it, then you should just place the marker at the top of that cube stack. Once you've placed them, flip them over so that you can see the numbers. These will be the locations where weapons will randomly spawn during the game. Your chosen scenario may have some scenario specific markers, such as VP objectives, power seeds, or the oddball. The chosen scenario setup map will show you where to place these, and again, if a location has a building upon it, then you should just place that marker on the top of that cube stack. Now in addition to objectives, your Halo battlefield can be littered with items ranging from grenades to health packs. A random selection of these are placed onto the battlefield before every game begins. To do this, take all of the item tokens and shuffle them face down. Now take a single item token from the pool of tokens without looking at it, and next we're going to generate a random location by rolling 2 D8 dice, 1 for the column and 1 for the row, as shown here. Place the token face down in that location, and again placing on the highest cube stack of any buildings that are in there. Now if that location is in a deployment zone, then re-roll both dice and choose a different position. Now you do this until you've placed 8 items onto the battlefield and place the remaining tokens face down to one side for now. A single cube can contain more than 1 item, so if you roll for the same location more than once, you can still place the item there. From round 2 onwards, at the start of each round, place 1 more item from the spare item pile onto the battlefield using the exact same method that I've just explained. Once you've set up the playing area according to the scenario, it's time to decide who goes first. Now you each roll a D8 die, with whoever rolls the highest being the starting player. The starting player then chooses their deployment zone and places all of their fire team models anywhere within their deployment zone as shown on the scenario map, followed by their opponent deploying their entire fire team. Once both fire teams are deployed, it's time to start the round with the starting player going first. Halo Flashpoint is played across a number of rounds. In each round, the players alternate taking turns to activate one model at a time until both players have completed activating their entire fire team. A game might last a set number of rounds or be determined by a particular victory condition. The rules for the scenario that you're playing will explain which end condition it is. Now, a round always begins by placing a weapon drop. Before the first round, choose 10 weapon tokens and their matching weapon profile cards from your collection to use for this game. You can do this randomly, or you can choose the ones you think make the game the most fun. Certain box sets or expansions in the future will contain additional weapon tokens and their profile cards that are associated with the faction, so you may well grow the number of options you can choose from over time. Once you've selected which 10 you're going to use, shuffle the 10 weapon tokens face down so that you can't tell which is which. At the start of each round, roll a d8 die. Now, whatever the result is, this will determine where the weapon spawns this round. Randomly choose one of the weapon tokens, turn it over to reveal which one it is, and place it in the location indicated by your d8 die result. So for example, if you roll a 6, you'd place the revealed weapon token on the weapon drop marker indicating 5, 6. You should do this at the start of every round. If you roll and there is already a weapon on that location from a previous round, just re-roll a die until you get a location that you can use. If all of the locations have weapons on them, then keep the first die roll result and replace the existing weapon with the new one, placing the removed weapon into a spare pile at the side of the playing area. Now you're all set up and you're ready to go. Each player starts the round by rolling their command dice. We'll cover command dice in more detail in another video, but for clarity's sake, this is the point that you roll them. The starting player now activates one model from their fire team and chooses what actions to take with it. When a model is activated during a player's turn, it may perform a number of actions, either one long action or up to 2 different short actions. The available short actions are advance, shoot, stand up, crouch, and take an auxiliary action. The available long actions are sprint and assault. We'll cover these actions in more details in their own relevant videos, but just so that you know how the game works, these are the options available to you when you activate your model. Now, there are some restrictions to this. A model may only perform each type of action once in a turn. However, extra actions granted by command dice, keywords, or other abilities do not count towards this limit, and so you can get very tactical by using duplicate actions on a model in the same turn. A model that starts its activation in a pinned condition must choose to stand up as its first action, and a model that starts its activation in the same cube as one or more enemy models may not perform a sprint or a shoot action unless a special order allows it to happen. Once a model has completed its activation, we place an activated marker next to the model so we remember that it's already activated. And player moves over to your opponent and they then activate one of their fire team models. Player moves back and forth until everyone has activated all of their fire team. At the end of the round, we consult the scenario victory conditions to see if either player has won the battle. If the battle is not yet over, we remove the activation markers from all of the models and start a new round, placing a new weapon drop and rolling our command dice. The person who finished activating all of their models first in the previous round starts this new round with the first turn. And that's how a game of Halo Flashpoint flows. Join me in the next video where we'll go over how to understand your stats.